Hey, what's going on YouTube? This is Natural Bodybuilder Ryan. I'm sorry about not having an update for you in a while. I've just been busy with work. But I wanted to give you an update on my bulking progress just real quick. I've been bulking for about 8 weeks now. As I mentioned in a previous video, bulking when you're a natural, it takes a long time and you kind of need to go by how you look. My approach this time around is going to be gaining it pretty slow, but I'm basically planning on bulking throughout the entire rest of the year and possibly into next year. And the reason that I'm doing this is because A, I can only build muscle at a certain rate, which is very slow, and B, there's no point in depriving myself of enjoying the Christmas and New Year's and Thanksgiving holidays if I'm constantly having to worry about being in a calorie deficit. So you could consider this, bulking for the winter. I just consider it gaining muscle mass for a period of time, and it just happens to coincide with a few holidays where you tend to eat more. So I wanted to make this video to talk about a concept that I think a lot of guys, when they start bulking and they're natural, have some trouble with. A lot of times I'll read forums or I'll hear guys talk about setting up their calories for bulk or for gaining muscle, and they rely on a calculator. They rely on a number or something that they saw online, and I think this is a mistake because there is no calculator in the world, online or anywhere else, that knows exactly how much activity you have and knows exactly how many calories you're burning based on your diet and your lifestyle. And I find that guys who like to use these calculators, they just don't want to take the time to determine their true maintenance level. And consequently, they usually end up eating too many calories over their maintenance level and they get too fat, and then they feel like they have to cut sooner and they shortchange themselves in time to build muscle. So I want to give you the way I do it, the way I determine my calorie maintenance level. And I have a very simple process that you can apply to this as well. And hopefully this will make your gains a little bit cleaner, and it'll allow you to prolong your muscle gaining period so you can gain muscle longer and not put on so much fat. Okay, so the first thing that I like to do when I'm determining my initial calorie level for a bulk, I want to determine my maintenance level of calories, my true maintenance level. You won't find this anywhere online. It's a process of experimentation and consistency. But what I do is I will determine, first of all, my body weight times 16 as a baseline. Whatever that number is, that will be my starting calorie level, and I will take in that amount of calories every single day. I will determine my macronutrient ratio, whether it be 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight, 1.5, 2, however many grams of fat I choose, however many carbs, whatever. You keep it consistent. You keep that calorie number consistent, and you follow that throughout the week. So what I'll do is, let's say I start my bulk at week 1 at 172 pounds. I multiply my body weight times 16 as a baseline number, and I get 2725 calories, something like that. So what I will do is I will say, okay, 2725 calories a day, and I will decide, I have a sedentary job, so I will take in more protein than carbohydrates. So 1.5 grams of protein per pound of body weight, 0.5 grams per pound of body weight of fat, the rest of it being carbs. And I will eat at that calorie level every single day and weigh myself at the end of the week in the morning on a specific day. And then I will ask myself 3 simple questions. 1, have I gained weight? If you've gained weight, then it's not your maintenance level, is it? So you need to lower it. Okay, but let's assume that you haven't gained weight. So then you move to question 2. Question 2 is, have I gotten stronger? If you've gotten stronger, or if you've maintained your strength, that's fine. Now if you've lost strength, then chances are you probably didn't gain weight, or you gained the wrong kind of weight and your macros are off, or your training sucks. But if you're not even maintaining your strength, you're probably not even eating enough. So you need to go back to step 1 and figure out your calories again. And now let's assume that I maintained my weight, I maintained my strength, or even gained a little bit of strength. I move on to question 3, which is, do I look much more fat? If you look much more fat, assuming that you maintained your strength and maintained your weight, then again, it's probably an issue with your macros. Maybe you're not getting in enough protein or something. But if you don't look that much more fat, then you've found your maintenance level. From that point, I always add 250 calories a day, and I will do the exact same process. I'll eat exactly 250 calories over that number every single day. I will weigh myself at the end of the week. I will ask myself the same 3 questions. 1, have I gained weight? If I haven't gained weight, then I need to increase the calories more. Now, if I have gained weight, regardless of however much weight it was, then I move on to question 2. Have I gotten stronger? If I've gotten stronger, then I move on to question 3, which is, have I put on a lot more fat? If I haven't gotten stronger, then I probably need to either look at my training again, or I might need to increase the calories again, because you want to be getting stronger. If you're not getting stronger, you're not building any muscle as a natural. So let's move on to 3. Let's assume that I gained a little bit of weight, maybe like 0.3 pounds. I got a little bit stronger. And question 3, do I look much more fat? If I don't look much more fat, then it's perfect. You're at an optimal surplus. You can be assured that any weight that you gained this week was muscle, and mostly muscle. However, if you look much more fat, then either your macros are off, or your training sucks, or your surplus was too high. So I think using those 3 questions and determining your maintenance calorie level first is really the most important thing that you need to do. It's vitally important when you're starting a bulk. It may take more time than just using somebody's assumption, somebody's number that you find on a calculator online or something, but you will know, if you take the time to do that, you will know that the numbers that you use are 100% tailored to you and you alone. It will take into account all of your activity, and you will know beyond a shadow of a doubt that that amount of calories is perfect for you. So if somebody tells you that you're not eating enough, you can say, no, I am eating enough. You don't know how much activity I have. I also briefly want to just go over my approach to macronutrients, because some guys who are natural in doing it, they also go on calculators or predefined bulking templates to figure out their macros, and I think this is a big mistake too. In my opinion, you should always have your fats at 0.5 grams per pound at a minimum. Now you can keep it at that minimum and bulk fine, but if you choose to have more, that's up to you. But I say that you should have a minimum of 0.5, a minimum. If you have any less than that, you run the risk of hormonal issues, like not producing enough testosterone, and that's a big deal for a natural. So really, when you're bulking, your 2 variables are your protein and your carbohydrates within your calorie level, whatever it is. So this is the way I like to determine the numbers. We know that you need 1 gram of protein per pound to build muscle optimally. I mean, this has been shown by science to be the safest number possible. And generally, any number above that is not really going to help you with muscle building, but it increases satiety and it increases maybe thermic effect of food, because protein is harder to digest for energy than a carbohydrate is. And a carbohydrate is primarily used for short-term energy needs, right? But any of the macros can be used for energy if need be. It's just that the carbohydrate is primarily used for that. It's used to restore muscle glycogen, and it's stored in excess if you have an excess and you're not using it. So I like to do this. I like to say, how active am I during my day? If you are somebody like a student who's walking around all day, maybe you go to PE, maybe you walk around college campus all day, then you go home and you are active again, maybe you go out, you see your friends, you train for an hour intensely, then you go home and you do more activity, you are a prime candidate to only have 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. And you should have your minimum of fat, 0.5 grams per pound, and any other amount should be carbohydrate, because you will be using that stored carbohydrate much more than a more sedentary person. You can actually afford, as somebody so active, to not have so much of a thermic effect of food from eating so much protein. It's actually in your benefit. Now let's take somebody like me who has a very sedentary job. I sit on my ass all day, so it doesn't really make much sense for me to have 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight and more carbohydrates than that, since I'm only really exerting a lot of energy when I'm doing workouts. In my case, I like to have protein at 1.5 grams per pound of body weight and the half gram of fat per pound of body weight, and the minimums there, and the rest is carbs. So in my case, my carbohydrate need would be lower, but that's only because I'm a sedentary person. So that only comes with experimentation. I don't believe that if you're going to do this correctly, that you should do it following a calculator. You really need to take the time to analyze how active you are during the day and what your individual needs are. And that'll keep your gains as clean as you possibly can get them. And it'll keep your hormone profile as optimal as it can be. And it'll keep you as full as you possibly can feel. You always want to feel full. You don't want to feel hungry while you're bulking, because that's just going to encourage you to eat more than you need, and you'll gain more fat that way. So I hope this video was helpful for somebody who's starting a bulk. I encourage anybody who's deciding that they want to try bulking to do it slowly, to not try and gain so much weight per week. Don't try and gain a number per week, just try and gain some amount of weight. And consider, if you're gaining too much fat, you need to analyze your body every week, and you need to analyze how much strength you're gaining, because those are important variables too. And don't be afraid to have a little bit of extra food during the holidays, because whether you're bulking or cutting, I feel like if you deprive yourself during these important times, then you're just going to get mentally burned out, and that's not healthy. So that's just my opinion on it. I'd like to hear your opinion. If you guys have any questions, or if you like the video, please respond or give me a like or a thumbs up. I always like reading your comments and your messages, and I hope you guys have a good week, good October. Thanks for watching.